Welcome back.
Girl, breathe.
10
Welcome
seconds
back
of silence.
to the BFF podcast. I'm Ann Duskus of Studio Duskus, and here with me is my co-host.
It's me, Vic, from C'est La Vic. Hello, everyone.
Hi!
How are you?
I'm screaming already.
I know. All right.
All right.
We need to tone
okay.
it down.
Settle.
Every time we're very mellow today. I thought today was going to be a mellow day, and we're screaming already.
And then we get pumped.
Yeah, of
once
course.
like we're
Of course.
officially like on the air.
Typical BFF.
Like lint on my thing.
There's a lot of dog hair floating.
Yes. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Ann. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I'm so good. Well, is that just me being like yeah, I'm good. Everything is fine. Like good, you know?
Okay, so it's so funny. Offline, I had asked Ann. I was like, Ann, for reals though, before we go online, how are you doing? And you're like, good. I'm fine. So like, you know, maybe on air you're gonna give me a different answer.
I mean,
how are you really?
Honestly, I am okay. I think I've been sort of, I'm having a really hard time focusing lately, just like on one task.
Yeah.
Because I think in my mind I have so many things that I want to accomplish that instead of tackling them one by one, I'm like, okay, let me do 5 things, but let me just do like a little bit here, a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it actually ends up feeling really unproductive because I get nothing done. Like nothing is near complete or nothing's completed. And then it makes me feel really crappy because I'm like, I went to work all day. I got nothing done because it's just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like maybe I'm going through a phase right now. And
Okay.
I know it's temporary, but it's been a while since I've been in this phase, and I'm having like a hard time just like breaking through it. So yes, like overall I'm fine, but I need to like just get it together and snap out of it.
Okay. I mean, I see it,
Yeah.
and I also
Okay.
don't want to call you out on it because we've had enough of that. But like,
Yeah.
you know, like, I definitely think that I see it visibly. I'm like, Anne's working on a different project every single day.
Yeah.
Actually, probably like from morning to afternoon, it's something different, right? And they're all very exciting. It's just a lot is going on right now,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's reflective of like what is going on in our lives in like the next couple months. You know, there is a lot going on, and we're trying to accomplish a lot, and we're trying to do all sorts of things. But I think the most important thing is like not to be hard on yourself. Like don't feel like you're not being productive because you're coming in here and you're busting your butt every single day, you know?
But I've accomplished nothing.
You have accomplished so much. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
I mean,
wait until that next episode or the one before, whatever.
I mean,
you know?
that's nothing. I mean, like, but like, you know, it's like, okay. So, hi, I am like Go Devs, like Warriors fan right here. So like coming off of our like series 1, I just have to say it's like they did like an interview with Klay Thompson the other day. I think it wasn't even the last game. I think it was like not game 6, but game 5 when they won. And then like during the interview, they're like, oh, tell me about your win, right? And then Klay, obviously being like the veteran that he is, he's like, yeah, it's great, like our team play well, but comes midnight, like we're done celebrating, like we're getting ready for the next game. So like they literally coming off the game has like 2.5 hours to celebrate and like really take it all in before they have to like start mentally prepare for them.
There's
like,
just
for
no
their next
time
game.
in between.
Right. And I feel like that's kind of like how I'm feeling, or like, I mean, even when I see you work, it's like, okay, this one is out, cooked, okay.
Next one.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
thank you, next,
But that's like sort of, isn't that what we want? Like that was what we were asking for, right?
Yeah.
To be so busy and to have so many things lined up that we don't have time to overthink. You know?
Okay. Also, we should do an episode on overthinking.
Oh,
maybe that's what we need
that's
to
a
do.
good one.
That's
Okay.
such a good one.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
there we
regroup.
go. Yeah.
Okay. But anyways, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
But how do you feel about all of this? How do you work the best though? You haven't been in this sort of state in a really long time. Are you typically more of like a focused worker, or are you somebody who can multitask and like, or often multitasks,
I don't know if have I said this on air before? Like, multitasking is not a thing. Like, that's what I believe in.
I think so. Yeah.
And so I don't think I'm good at multitasking because, again, multitasking is not a thing. Like, we're not, in my opinion, is like we're not made to multitask because it just kind of like, I am pretty much the prime example of someone who is trying to multitask and then gets nothing done. Like, that's exactly what I just like explained with like what my situation right now. And so I feel like I work better under pressure.
Yeah.
And so that's why like it's really good for myself to like set deadlines for myself and be really disciplined about it. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing.
Okay.
But you know, like I've started setting deadlines for myself.
Yes.
You know, so like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do in May, and I'm super excited about it. It's May. Oh my gosh.
It's May.
It's May.
It's
okay,
May.
I just time-stamped us again.
There's no going back from here. Though.
Okay, fine.
It is May.
I'm sorry.
It is May.
Yeah.
Regardless of when you think we recorded this, it is May.
It's gonna be May.
How did I know that was coming?
We did it. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Let's recover from that embarrassment.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think like talking about pressure. I've kind of had the opposite feeling of like pressure, and I think like we went on a live and basically said this. So for me, I was on like a 3-week hiatus from work. Basically, went home and dealt with some family things. Spent some much needed quality time with my family, and I didn't do any work. And so when I came back, I had a project that needed to be delivered. Like, I literally had a week and a half to do it. And for me, it was like very crucial to not be under that pressure because I know I'd break. And actually, I don't know if I survived very well because I'm congested, allergies. Like, I blacked out for 2 days over the weekend. But the entire time I was telling myself, don't let the pressure get to you. No pressure. There's no pressure on this. You just got to work. Like, each day we just have to, go to work and be productive from, whatever hour you get in till the hour you leave. And then that's it. Like, don't put too much on yourself because then that's when I know that I will start overthinking things. I will start feeling really crappy about myself, like things aren't good enough. Like, why aren't you doing a better job? Like all those things start to surface. So like, despite, and I reflected on it. I was like, the more that you tell people that you're not stressed out, it sounds like you're stressed out. Right?
Yeah, it's like, are you in denial right
like,
now?
Are you
because
sure
you
you're not stressed out?
Like, I'm stressed for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude, you're so chill.
I tried to be. I'm trying. This is the new me. Yeah,
like,
where I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. This is all the time that I have. Why am I stressing out about it? So like, yeah, it's just a funny year. 2023 is a funny year, and I feel like we're both going through it.
You're doing amazing.
So are you.
You're so
You are
sweet.
doing so well. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are doing so well, and it shows. Despite what you think, there's so many signs.
So sweet. But anyways. Okay, so our topic today is... Okay, so you started kind of like talking about it, and you're like, okay, like I kind of feel like I want to talk about this, but and then I was like, okay, well, like like tell me more, and then you started telling me, I was like,
wait for the record button.
I was like, this sounds like we just need to do it, and so like tell me what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and like why is this top of mind right now?
Okay, so just loosely, the topic is confidence, and I think it's we're like looking for a topic that's kind of relevant and something that we relate to currently. And I don't know when this switch happened, and I think typically confidence is very closely tied to like when I interact with my family because they, as we've discussed before, they play a huge role in like, what my definition of success is, or, whether what I'm doing, whether I'm like a good enough daughter, whether, stupid things like that. But I tend to find that when I'm interacting with people that are closest to me, friends and family from back home, that these things start to surface, And so for some reason, coming back from Toronto this time, I felt like I have a little bit more self-confidence. And I cannot pinpoint where the switch is again, but I just feel like a little bit like I can hold my head a little higher, and I can justify that what I'm doing is important and what I'm doing is worthwhile and worth the risk and worth chasing, you know? And again, you know, I'm going through a lot of restructuring for my personal business. So I don't know if it's because I have to go through this whole process that, you know, I have to hype myself up, and I'm like my own hype man. I'm like, I need to believe in myself in order for other people to believe in me, you know, and to invest in me and want to spend money on me, want to hire me, you know, all those things. But yeah, it's like, it's a refreshing feeling of like, hey, what I do is kind of cool, and what I do has a market and has, you know, I'm going to be able to get business doing this. And I think, you know, in the next 3 to 5 years, this is what I'm going to go like all out doing. Yeah.
So is part of you, so many things to unpack here, but like, is part of you breaking through this imposter syndrome thing?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. I still think like, no, I still filmed intros and outros, and it's still cringy as heck.
But that has nothing to do with
cringe.
like, I know, but it's just like, but I feel like that's separate though, because like, it's more like getting comfortable in front of the camera. Like, I don't, it's not associated with the work that you produce, because we know it's sick.
Thank you.
But so is it like, okay, I really want to know, like, okay, you can't really pinpoint what it is. So like, I'm just trying to figure out like, okay, like, is it because you're a year older and you feel like
My birthday's coming soon, but not yet.
yeah. So I'm trying to like, so is it because like you obviously like I know for a fact that like your family back home follows your work. You know, they follow your journey, and then so like they see your wins. They may not necessarily see your losses because you hold that close to yourself, and maybe like you and I could just share them, right? But like most people only get to see our success.
For sure.
And especially family, like when you want them to support you in what you do, you can only show
share
your
the good
Asian
things.
family your successes, so then to help them feel more comforted in this path that you're on. And so this time when you're back home, do you feel like because they've seen so much of your wins that it was almost like, well, like because you proved to them that you can do it, and then you've done it, and then you've been published, and then so it's like, okay, well, we can't really say anything to her to, you know?
Yeah, like
is it
what is it?
that?
Was
Have you
was it
noticed?
our like
Have
New
you-
York Times feature?
I don't know, but like, have
Subtle
you
flex.
noticed? Like, do they speak to you about your business the way that they used to speak to you, or like, have you noticed a shift in their attitude towards you and what you do?
I mean, I think a little bit because, again, it's like we only share our wins, right? So when the wins are big enough, then people are boasting about you, and you don't have to really say anything. You know, you walk into a room, and it's like I went to a wedding, and, you know, they were like, my friends were very nice. They're jokingly saying, like, oh, who's, like, the most famous person at this table? And it was like, I don't know, but this girl got published, you know, on New York Times. And I was like, great, but like also let me just go back into my shell. Don't talk about me. Like I hid for all the games because I'm like, don't call on me. I'm not meant for this. So a little bit, but still like the same BS that I got. I called you one time and basically told you I was like bawling, you know, but like the same BS comes up, which is like, you know, a lot of like, oh, are you sure this is a good idea? You're not making enough money. Like, wouldn't it be so great if you were in a typical 9-to-5 job, you know, one that matched your education and all that, and would make you so much money? You'd have a house now, you'd have all these things now, you know? So the typical BS came up, but I think I was more like equipped with dealing with it. So I got back up a lot faster. Whereas before it would be like something that would haunt me, and it would make me question.
Spiral.
Right, I would spiral from it, you know. Whereas this time it was like, yes, you know, I'm like a faucet. I cry very easily, but I was able to stop it really quickly too. And I think that's like, it just felt good. It felt better. Where I was like, you know what? This is the type of confidence I need to continue having if I'm going to be doing this in the next couple of years, because this is freaking hard, and everybody's going to come at you, you know, in so many ways, if not just yourself, you know, like we're going to be really hard on ourselves. And if we don't have that confidence, then we can't get people to, you know, join our team.
Like, for sure. So, I mean, obviously, like, we've seen on Instagram, like, just even this year alone, like, I mean, you worked on some, like, back-to-back, like, some really cool projects, right? And these are, like, great clients, good paying gigs, and would you say that part of that sort of contributed to help, like, building you and your confidence and your ability to, like, on this journey?
For sure. I think, like, sometimes we forget to look back on all the things that we've accomplished so far, you know, even if it's like what we've accomplished in the first half of the year, or things we've accomplished in the past, like last year, you know, because things come so quickly. It's like you say, like one project followed by another, and we don't have that time to even celebrate. Like, we don't take the 2.5 hours to celebrate. We just kind of go to sleep, wake up, and then we restart, you know. My nose is like so clogged.
Holiday season, people.
I promise I'm not tearing up. But yeah, so definitely I think it helps to have, you know, accolades. But if you ask me like how much is enough? How much? I don't think it's necessarily like how many solid things I can count that I've done, but I really feel like it's somehow just in my mind, I'm like, you know what? You need to stop being a pity party. You need to stop like thinking that this isn't good enough, because regardless, you're going to be in this for 5 years, you know, like the master plan was, I'm going to try this out for 5 years. And then if it's successful, then we're going to continue. If it isn't, then, you know, and it's the same with like investment. Like I've decided, and you have too, right, to sort of invest financially into our businesses so that we can ramp things up a lot quicker. And I just think like, if we're going to do all of these things, then we need to go in with the right attitude, you know? And I think it's more of that kind of a switch versus like, how many things can I count that I've done that's been like successful, you know? Yeah.
So it sounds like this confidence that I don't know if it's like a newfound confidence, but like
a little bit
greater confidence that you have in yourself. Professionally, like how do you think that translates into like your personal life, like personally? Like, is it a direct translation? Is it one-to-one? Or is it like it's not quite the same thing?
I think it affects like on all axes, because our work life is so big. Like, we are workaholics. Everything we want to do right now, we're so focused on like, how can we make this the rest of like, you know, our career for the next, you know, little while. So I think like even dealing with people, like I used to not like, I definitely did not start out with a very high self-esteem. And I used to not like in social, you know, situations to talk about what I do. You know, I will always be the one that's like listening to what other people are doing, asking about how, you know, all the things that they're doing, and feeling like, oh my gosh, they're doing so well, they're so successful. And now it's like I'm more comfortable, like I'm not shying away from what I do. I actually have things to talk about. You know, I actually feel like what I'm doing is like interesting and valid, you know, and that makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky, what you do is so interesting. Listen, you just have to, I mean, granted, you already have your own personal hype man, so, like, I'm happy for you, but, like, you just have to put me in your pocket and take me everywhere you go, because I will hype the crap out of you.
You are.
Like,
and no.
Easy.
But,
like,
okay,
easy.
but same for you, sis, because literally what you do is insane. It's absolutely insane. And I love how, like, it's so funny because we sit across from each other in the studio, and sometimes I'm like, Ann, why aren't you recording this?
I know. I came up
I'm
earlier.
like, that's so cool. And literally,
so
like, last week,
God.
you were like, she was sketching and doing some drawings of the new project that she's working on. I'm like, I hope you're posting these. And she's like, why? These are so boring. I'm like, they look so cool. They look like insane. Like, these are professional level, of course, but professional level,
You're
like,
so
drawings.
nice.
And
I'm like always embarrassed about my sketches because I look at other people's sketches. I'm like, oh my God, everyone's so good at sketching.
from the untrained eye, like
you're
my own untrained eye,
so
they
nice.
look
Okay,
amazing.
you're not
You
an
need to-
untrained
yes,
eye.
I am an
Okay,
untrained.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah. You need to like just like I mean, again, like I think this year is like focused on, you know, how do we do this sustainably? So I feel like just having someone here being able to capture the things that maybe you don't think is really cool, but like, man, I could be a little assistant. I'll just walk around snapping pictures of things, you know, and like thousands of people would literally like it.
You are
and
so
they would
nice.
want to see more. Like, tell me, people who are listening, our listeners, like, tell me you don't want to see more.
You're so
Not
nice.
pressure on you, just saying that all of your stuff is really interesting to see.
Thanks, Vicky.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean it. And I sit across from her and I see a lot, and still when she posts, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Like, I didn't get to see that. Yeah. So.
You're so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But how do you think, like, okay, well, can I bring it back to you? Like, how do you think your confidence has changed? Or
Like-
has it changed from before you were doing this to now? Like, I mean, okay, one thing that makes me really happy is talking about investment. Like, Ann just invested in a new camera and a bunch of new tech and a bunch of new things, right? And you're like, you know, the other day you were like, yep, I'm fully embracing the fact that I am a content creator, you know? And it's like,
Which is like wild.
we are so embarrassed to
Oh my
say
God,
that, you know?
cringe. Like-
It's how to drink for every time that we say cringe in this episode. But yeah, it's like you've like come to accept that, you know, this is part of your job, and this is very much like capturing the process is very much what we do, and it's the product of, you know, it's our product, right?
It is our product, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Confidence to me is kind of like, I don't really think about it, and I think maybe I speak from a place of like privilege or just like I don't know, I'm blessed maybe, you know, like to not have to think about it. Like I feel like generally speaking, I'm a pretty confident person.
Mm-hmm. I would say that.
Yeah,
From
okay.
like day one when I met you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also when you met me, I was like, oh my gosh, I was already in my late 30s. So also like I'm old enough to like, I don't really give a crap about that sort of thing.
It's like what you said.
you know?
Maybe it's an age thing.
I think it's
you
an
know?
age thing for me, especially. I mean, granted, like when I was younger, I've always been like, even my 20s, like I've always been a pretty confident person. I mean, I shouldn't say like I feel like a pretty confident person. I should just say I'm a confident person, you know, because it's
Yeah.
like you either are or you're not.
Right.
And so like, yeah, I'm like I feel like I'm always a really confident person. And whether or not it's like naively confident, you know, in my ability to execute or whatever it is, like I'm glad I've been sort of blessed with that, you know, like thinking that you know, I can do anything.
Which is a great attitude to have in life. And I think
Yeah.
like that's like this level of confidence is something that I'm trying to impart in like my brothers, you know, and like people that I love that are younger. That's like, you need to go out into the world and take whatever you want, you know, like go and take advantage of everything and do everything and don't be shy. Like
Yeah.
don't self-select out
Yeah.
for things that you can't do because you haven't tried it, you know? Yeah.
And like, and I think part of that comes from me being like, I think inherently, like I'm just a very competitive person. And I think we briefly talked about this in the past, like, and you're also a very competitive person. And I think there's direct correlation to like how competitive you are can help build your confidence, because then I would see something that I admire or I aspire to be, and then it's like, okay, I want to be that. How do I become that? You know? And I think, or like if I see somebody else in the position that I want to be in, then I'm like, no, I can totally do that. Like I can do it better than you, you know? And so I think that like my competitiveness helps me like build my confidence. And then I'm also like, when I was younger too, like I've always had this attitude of like fake it till you make it, you know, and you have to have so much confidence like in order to even play that game, right? Granted, the me now, it's like, okay, that's not real. That's not a real thing. Like, fake it till you make it. It's like, it's silly, you know. That's not a thing, you know. It's just like you just have, like, I don't know. I have so much to say about that. But anyways, we're not gonna get into that. But it's like it's not a thing. But anyways, and so I think there's like a false. Maybe sometimes there was like a false sense of confidence for me.
But does that ever backfire for you? Like, is confidence like ever a bad thing?
Maybe. I mean, yeah. I don't think it has backfired for me yet. If anything, is sort of gave me courage to try more things, even if I know I'm terrible at it. So like, okay, like a prime example was like when I was at my last corporate job, and then they had this like video crew that came in to like do some like marketing stuff for like the company, you know, so they were going around different departments filming. And I was like, Vicky, I have come so far, honestly. Like, I'm a very confident person, and and I'm a very social person, so I don't I can meet anybody, talk to anybody, but like you put a camera in front of me at that time, I immediately turn into something else. Like I have no control over who that person becomes, and I immediately just like freeze.
Your mind like blanks, and you don't know what to say. Nothing comes out in a full sentence.
Nothing comes out, and I like forget how to speak English, and then it was like multiple times they tried to film me, right? And then one time there was this like, the VPs were like sitting around the table, and then they're like, "Oh, Ann, what do you think about this?" And then I was like,
it's like, did they even think about the pressure of just having an audience and like of that caliber sit in front of you?
But I'm like, thank you for thinking that I can do this, but like clearly I cannot. But I'll try, right? And then so I try and like completely fail in front of everyone, and then the VP was like, "Okay, well, Ann, like I like what you said. Can you just say it exactly this, right?" And I don't know if you've had this experience, but like, and apparently it's a common thing where it's impossible to repeat back exactly what somebody else asked you to say. Yeah. Like it's impossible in that moment. I mean, it sounds like you just experienced it.
Yeah. Literally.
Let me feed you the line. I don't know. I
say that again.
Doesn't compute. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was just like, but then like, in that moment, like, I'm embarrassed. I'm, like, turning so red. I just want to crawl into a hole. But it's like, you know what? I owned it. Whatever. I did it, you know? And it's, like, move on with my life, you know? Like,
exactly.
Like, you judge yourself the hardest. Like, maybe people are, like, judging you. But it's, like, there's nothing you can do about it. At least, like, compared to other people, you tried.
Exactly.
You know?
You did it. And, like, the people who didn't do it and are, you know, looking at you and criticizing, like, you never tried it. You never put yourself in that situation, so you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know how it feels. Yeah.
So cringe though.
It is so. You know what? Being in front of a camera, I don't know. I'm gonna continue to say that I am not made for this. Like, I'm not made to sit myself in front of a camera and just talk. And I know, like you were super nice. But right before, she was like hyping me up before I had to do like my intro and outro, and I was just like, man, like 3 years in, we're 3 years in, and it's not getting any better. Like an hour and a half to film like a 10-second intro. That's what it takes.
It's hard though. It's hard.
But, you know, I think that's the competitiveness in me, is that I suck at this, and I will admit that I suck at this, but I'm going to keep trying until one day it's just seamlessly gets better, and I like, you know, and when you don't compare yourself, you're only comparing yourself to yourself instead of comparing to other people. Like, you're not comparing yourself anymore to people who have never been in front of the camera, so you don't know the difference. Like, bet you anything right now, put a camera on you, you can talk way better than you know, somebody who's not been in front of the camera.
Yeah, I think I'm much better.
Yeah.
But okay.
I've seen your reels. You're like a natural, like, you know.
Just... Am I though? But then the same thing. It's like we'll say the same thing 10 times, and then we'll cut the one that works.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fine.
It's like the first one or the
it's
last
always
one.
The first one.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the first one that was like perfectly fine, but we did 10 more takes on top of that.
Yeah. But like all of that though doesn't matter. Like what you just said about like, okay, it's been 3 years, like I'm still not great in front of the camera because like guess who's getting all the jobs? Vicky over here. You know? So like it doesn't matter how much you criticize yourself. Like sometimes the clients that are reaching out to you, like don't see the side that you criticize yourself about, you know? And it's just like they only get to see sort of like the more like, I don't know, refined is the word, but like the
curated, self-curated
exactly.
side. Right.
And but then that's enough, you know? And I know it takes like a lot of work for us to get to even like a place where we're happy with the results. Yeah. And I think it's safe to say, correct me if I'm wrong, like between you and me, like it seems like you're much harder on yourself than like me. And so I think I really like, I just really want to take this opportunity to let you know that like you don't have to be so hard on yourself.
Thank you.
And like, yeah, you're fine, honestly. Like you're really
Thank you. No, it's like, again, it's like something that nobody has control over except for me.
That's true.
You know? And I'm so sorry. The phone's going off in the background. But it's like truly... I'm going to cut this out. It's something that, like, again, I have to work on, you know? And it's like, a lot of people would be like, oh, like, you love doing this. Like, you've always loved doing this as a kid. And again, I keep telling them, it's like something that I want to overcome. So the fact that you're seeing that it seems natural is because I've been working on it for so long, you know? And like, it's like what you said, the confidence, or quote unquote, you know, confidence, is what continues to push me to take on these things that are outside of my comfort zone, because regular people don't do it, you know? Like I've said, a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, you know, they would never take on this type of position because it's just out of the question for them, you know? And so I'm like, you know what do I have to lose? Make a fool out of myself sometimes, and it's okay. Yeah.
And I also think it's that, like, also like going back to that competitiveness thing, it's like, well, like, challenge accepted sort of thing. Like, we love a good challenge, and this is part of that.
Yeah, exactly. You know? It's like, how far it's like a game, you know, like how far can we push ourselves? And how much can we get out of this? So yeah.
One of the things that like it took me sort of like a long time to get more comfortable with, and like honestly, like even to this day, like I might look like I'm really comfortable with it, but like it like mentally, like it takes a lot for me to get myself to a place where like I can sort of fake like I'm very comfortable with it, and that's public speaking. And I think what trained me really well was just from doing presentations like at work. Yeah. You know, like I've done that from the beginning of my design career to like my last corporate job. I mean, even today we have to do that, but it's not like to a big audience, but like as little as like 4 people in a meeting to as big as like 100 people in a sales meeting, you know? So it's like,
how has that changed though? Like doing a presentation in front of people versus now, like when you put out content and it goes to like, do you even think about that? Do you even think about the fact that you like, okay, I don't want to give you,
thanks, Vicky.
I don't want to give you that mental image.
No, but it's interesting. Okay. So when I had, I mean, honestly, thank you guys so much. First of all, like we'll get into it in the next episode, but like, I'm like shocked, like this many people
the number
care
of people
about what I do.
Right.
And before I even got to this position, like, when I had like a much smaller, like a quarter of the following I have right now, like I was very satisfied with that. You know, it's like really strange. Like the finish line moves, like your target moves as you like every day progresses,
So
like as a content creator. You know,
Yes.
And I think like when I was sitting in my friend's podcast last year, shout out Drum with Mike and Eddie. I think Mike was saying to me, it's like, it doesn't matter if you have a small following, because like if you have a post and like 50 people liked it, like if you think about it in a venue, because they're musicians, right?
Right.
Like
right.
50 people paid for a ticket to come watch you play.
Yeah, exactly.
And when he put it that way, I was like, oh my God, I love that analogy.
That's actually a lot of people. If you
That's
thought,
a ton of
there's that
people.
like reel that goes around. Like, imagine if 50 people walked into your studio right now and looked at something.
It would not
that
fit.
you did.
Like, it would be so crowded.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's like, anytime 100 people liked my post, I'm like, oh my God, 100 people came to my concert.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's like,
Exactly.
that's like you fill up like a little atrium, like with 100 people.
With 100 people.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. And so like I still think kind of small, you know, because I think like
We kind of like it small,
big,
though.
like overwhelms.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. Yeah, for sure. And like I think even I think we're going to talk about this more, but like even if we're thinking like we put out something, whatever it is that we've recently done, we don't think with the mindset that it's going to be shown to like millions of people. We're just kind of like, you know what, our like little community is happy with sharing what we have to them, and it's like it's very satisfying just doing that. So I think like maintaining that mindset and not getting overwhelmed is a good thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think this would be like a really good like way to end this episode on. It's like, wouldn't you say that like our community like helps build our confidence?
For sure.
Right? Like 100%.
Yeah.
Because like even if we think in like a smaller context, like I think out of everyone that follows us, right? You and I can probably pinpoint like 50 diehard, like I was with you from the beginning. I will be with you to the end.
Yep.
There's like
every single post, knows all the updates,
everything. Like sends us DMs, sits in our lives. Like we have like I don't even know if I have 50 diehards. Like, and I apologize
like,
if there
a
are
handful
but like,
of people.
But like maybe 20 if I'm really lucky. And I feel like those 20 people like really helps me out like with my confidence as like an online personality and a content creator. Because again, like they're just like very like always so supportive with their feedback, and it's like sometimes like when we're second guessing whether or not this is like interesting posts, like they help us feel better about the situation.
1000%.
Right?
Yeah.
And then so I think that's like what a like blessing
a huge blessing.
That,
yeah. And it's like 20 people. Like I don't even think I have 20 friends in real life.
Yeah.
That are constantly updated on what I do, on like what I'm going through, and these are the same people. So yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much, honestly. Yeah, we really appreciate like everything you do for us. It's because of you we get to do what I do. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh,
for helping us with our confidence.
Your acceptance speech.
Yeah.
It's like your Michelle Yeoh acceptance speech.
Oh girl,
man,
one
that
day.
was inspirational. Yeah.
So
you're just preparing for that now.
So are you, babe?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying hard.
So are you. So are you.
You. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for unpacking that with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for presenting this concept of confidence.
Yes.
I feel like we can all use a little boost. Yeah.
And I'm just going to plug our Instagram channel at the BFF Pod. We are separating this. We're going to put all of our joint content on there, which means there's going to be more crazy lives, more like lunch with Ann and Vix, and any kind of like snippets from our podcast and stuff. So check us out on there on Instagram. And then of course, if you like this on Spotify, on YouTube, give us a like so that, other people that like the same content can find us. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for listening and watching.
Till next time. Bye. Okay. Good job.
Good timing.
Yeah.